What If Season 3, Episode 7, What If the Watcher Disappeared? Thoughts? Spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including this episode. Another episode I love, like most of the MCU. Almost everything MCU, period. The episode is rated 12+, so will this video be? Let's dive right in. Yeah, possibly short video, we're gonna see. Depends on my back pain. Yeah, was not expecting so many of the episodes of this season to really contribute to the overall. It seemed like this time they really were going to, but yeah. Here we have Birdie, for example. Yeah. And I believe that world at the start of the episode is the one from Season 2, the sort of cyberpunky one, somewhat Blade Runner-y, Philip K. inspired, because I think that episode ended with Nebula becoming Nova Prime, and, Groot and Korg are right there. So, yeah. And, yeah, apparently, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name. Carter, Captain Carter, has been, she has a different team now of multiversal, which, fair enough. The rest of the team, the team disbanded at the end of Season 1 after defeating Ultron. And she's been evidently traveling around the multiverse with Kahori and the others, gathering a new team and solving problems, which, now it really starts to make sense why the Executioner, the Eminence, I think it is, in this episode, why he is so frustrated with the Watcher and Captain Carter. That, I could sort of understand before, but when it was the Watcher every so often interfering. But if Captain Carter has been going around all over the place, are they eyeing a spin-off that is just about, like, Captain Carter and the multiversal Avengers? I just feel like they keep popping up, or she keeps popping up, and fixing problems. And she's in all 3 seasons of this one, of this show. Anyway, let's see. I think I gotta talk about Birdie. I don't know why. I really should have. I don't know why I didn't see coming. Of course, they were gonna give us adult Birdie going around, using her powers, and I'm here for it. I genuinely didn't think that there would be follow-up to the Howard the Duck, how Howard got hitched episode. But yeah, if they're gonna introduce a character that powerful, of course they're gonna use her more than once. And yeah, I love everything about this character. The whole 80s punk rock aesthetic with the hair and the tattoos and the t-shirt and, the slang phrases, the way that she, we have to get to right on the money on the meter in order for it to work. And, her personality. I'm so glad Natasha Lyonne is still acting. I first became aware of her, 25 years ago. She was one of the standouts of American Pie, a movie that in general, problematic, not making excuses for it, but it has a quite stacked cast. She was one of the standouts. Not absolutely everyone had a career after that movie. Certainly not a long one, not a very impressive one. She did, and there's a reason. She is still acting, a quarter of a century later, and I gotta catch up on some of it. I've heard such positive things. Let's see. I want to say, is it just called Russian Doll? I've heard such great things about that, and the concept really appeals to me. Yeah. Let's see. I think, yeah, Devery Jacobs, great to see her again, and her character is still awesome. A lot of great character moments, and this is a show full of great character moments, not just the episode. And yeah, I mean, we knew from the trailers that Storm was going to show up. I was still really, it lived up to the hype. What can I say? And great that they, it's the same voice actress from, X-Men 97 and the original X-Men, the animated series, 92 to 97 through 97. She's just amazing, and they know what we're here for. They give her an amazing monologue as she's trying to use Asgardian magic to make the shard. She picked a shard, any shard, does not end up working. I really appreciate that they let it play out. They only, they have a joke right after with the thing, you did hit it with a hammer, cue the laugh track, but they didn't interrupt it partway through. As, sometimes the MCU won't let an emotional moment land. Now, yeah, I appreciate that Captain Carter, it feels true to her character that she is not, she doesn't want to risk losing anyone else. She's lost so much, and great to see her get to defeat the squid, which I think is either supposed to be or supposed to be like related to Hive, which we saw in the Agents of Shield. I didn't call that out when, in the season 1 when we first saw the squid, because I hadn't watched any Agents of Shield at that time. That was back before I decided I was gonna try to watch everything Marvel that's on Disney Plus, and now I've watched like most of Agents of Shield. I'm still missing, I want to say it's 3 seasons. I will get to them. Yeah. Let's see. I think that might, to be clear, like, before I do more of the of the pre-Disney Plus MCU shows, I am intending to do at least 1 season of The Walking Dead. I don't know if Arts Cafe is watching this video, because he is not the biggest fan of this show. But, just in case, rest assured, that is definitely, I am doing that next, as promised. Now, let's see, yeah, and I also really appreciate, I think it's important when there are minority characters in, fiction. At this point, we gotta have them have flaws and make mistakes. It's not that interesting to have them just be perfect. And I greatly prefer, when we're getting representation of women, and I'm not, to be clear, I realize obviously my opinion as a man does not matter as much as that of female feminists. I'm in part, one of the female feminists I've seen point this out is Princess Weeks, who points out, Birds of Prey, the movie, I don't know about the show, does, yeah, it's more interesting representation than something like Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman is just this perfect idealized vision of, a lot of aspects of femininity, of womanhood. Birds of Prey, they're allowed to be messy, and, this does not go as far as Birds of Prey, but then we did just have Agatha All Along, which went not quite as far, but much further in that direction than something like this. But yeah, Peggy made a mistake. It was well-intentioned, but she should not have gone alone, and it actually hurt the team's chances. And it's not one of those things where we end up, it doesn't send the absurd message that, oh, all women, everything they do is wrong, and, they need men. No. The important thing is that they have other women to support them, and that's what we see here. The others aren't like, well, screw her then. They're like, we gotta go save her. I mean, I don't think it's random that this iteration of the multiversal Avengers, very, very female. Let's see, what is it, 4, 5 women total? Let's see, Birdie, Storm, Kahori, Peggy. Yeah, I guess it's 4. 4 members, all of them women. So, Right, I love how they work together in the opening as well, all using their powers. And the little thing about, is Duck Wrist a power or a skill? Is, portaling a power or an ancestral gift? And let's see. And it is legitimately very clever, this thing of, yeah, they risk everything by, by trying to, approach an Infinity Ultron. I think I got his name wrong in one of the earlier ones. Right, Jason Isaacs delivering the opening was very cool. I love how it's a bit more arrogant and cold. The wording has changed somewhat as well, and it's like very gray where it used to be very colorful because it's from his point of view, his certain point of view, rather than Uatu. And let's see, I think that does pretty much. Yeah, I really appreciate that Infinity Ultron got a chance to redeem himself. We'll see if it lasts. Sinister Strange ended up betraying everyone. But yeah, he. And I love that we also don't know exactly what happened to Peggy, so we don't know. But I will say I did pretty quickly guess, but it's also not a overlong fight. But yeah, the way he seems so sad, that did not seem like I regret, taking her out too. No, that's like I couldn't save her. I realize now my mistake. And I appreciate he used as little violence against them as at all possible. At first, he's just telling them, stop, listen to me. They won't. So he uses, by far, the power that will do the least harm. The Time Stone freezes them, or prevents them from moving at least. Yeah, that's not going to hurt them, but it's going to give him a chance to explain himself. And yeah, the Eminence was watching her, stepping on Uatu's job there, and intervened as soon as, before she had a chance to work with Infinity Ultron. And Infinity Ultron thankfully managed to grab the shard before being pushed away, which, yeah, that makes sense. He quickly deduced what, yeah. Let's see, I think that does pretty much... Yeah, right, his redemption, it makes sense. The other Infinity Ultron didn't have very much time. He heard the Watcher almost immediately, so he didn't have a lot of time to reflect. Like, yeah, he was starting to feel lonely, maybe starting to feel like, not necessarily regret, but thinking, there's something wrong. But then when he finds out, no, this is one universe in the multiverse, he thinks that what's wrong is that the multiverse is still full of life. This is an Ultron, an Infinity Ultron, who had no idea the multiverse existed, so he's just, he says it's been eons. He's been stuck in an empty universe, and he realizes, and this is, again, a really good point, there is no peace without life, but where there is life, there is conflict. And that is something that we all have to, at some point in our lives, come to terms with. I'm not trying to do an accent. I don't know why my mouth not cooperating. Anyway, yeah, at some point in our lives, we have to come to terms with that. And yeah, sometimes in order to come to terms with something, you have to be alone with your thoughts for a really long time. See, this is how we come to great realizations. Maybe log off, social media just briefly, and you'll have a great revelation as well. Anyway, I think that does pretty well cover everything I had for this one. I like Storm, talking to Captain Carter, and Peggy not like pushing her away, but just like, she doesn't really fully accept. Storm is saying we'll do this together, and yeah, I really enjoyed the call, the parent, yeah, that is very much, overbearing parents of like, come on, your mother worked really hard on developing, what was it, multiversal communication. It's not okay for you to ignore her. That's not why she didn't invent it so you could ignore her. Make sure to go to the store, buy that thing we really like. And I will say the idea of like donuts from a universe where carbs make you lose weight. That is, yeah. Um, that sounds pretty amazing. That is genuinely, yeah. Scientists, get on multiversal travel, because that really is something, that, yeah. We gotta open trade with the universe and the multiverse where carbs make you lose weight.